You are standing at the base of the largest construction site in human history, and the sun has not even fully risen yet. The air already burns, not warm, burns. A dry, suffocating heat that grabs your throat before your eyes have adjusted to the light. Around you, thousands of men are moving, not wandering, moving with the mechanical urgency of people who know exactly what happens when they stop. The ground beneath your bare feet is not sand. It is a mixture of sand, gravel, dust, and the compacted sweat of 100,000 days of labor. You are a pyramid builder in ancient Egypt, and the next 24 hours are going to dismantle every single thing you thought you knew about this civilization. Most people picture the pyramids and see majesty. Geometry so perfect, it still confuses engineers. Monuments so enduring they outlasted every empire that ever tried to rival them. What almost nobody pictures is you, standing here, hungry, sunburned, carrying a body that has been doing this for years, with calluses where your skin used to be soft, and a spine that has started to protest in ways no physician of this era can fix. The romantic version of this story has been told for centuries. This is the other version, the one your body would live. Before the first tool is lifted, before the first stone is touched, your morning begins with something that would shock you more than any physical punishment. Breakfast. Not because it is good, because of how close it is to nothing. Workers on the Giza Plateau received rations, and those rations have been documented through administrative papyri and archaeological remains discovered at the workers' village near the pyramids. You receive bread, dense, gritty bread, baked from emmer wheat that has been imperfectly ground, which means every single bite contains fragments of stone from the millstones. Dental analysis of skeletons recovered from the workers' cemetery at Giza shows severe tooth wear across nearly every adult examined, with enamel ground down to the dentin by middle age. You are not eating breakfast. You are slowly destroying your teeth with every meal, every single day, for your entire working life. There is also beer. Thick, barely fermented, more nutritious than the water available, and consumed in quantities that would alarm a modern nutritionist. This is not celebration drinking. This is caloric survival. You finish eating and join your crew. The organizational records that survived, particularly the Reisner papyri discovered in the early 20th century, reveal a workforce divided into named gangs with titles like Friends of Khufu and Drunkards of Menkar. Your gang has a name too, and that name means something. It means you are part of a rotating labor system called the corvée, where able-bodied men from across Egypt serve in cycles, often 4 months at a time, contributing their labor as a form of tax to the state. This is not slavery, contrary to what centuries of misrepresentation suggested, but it is also not a choice you made freely. The state needed the pyramid built. The state determined that you would help build it. The distinction is real. But on a morning like this one, standing in the heat before the sun has cleared the horizon, it does not feel like a meaningful comfort. The stones you will move today are limestone blocks quarried from deposits less than a kilometer away, or granite hauled from Aswan, roughly 800 kilometers to the south down the Nile. The average block weighs around 2.5 metric tons. Some weigh much more. The tools you have are wooden sledges, copper chisels, ropes made from plant fiber, and human muscle. Yours and everyone else's. Modern experimental archaeology has demonstrated repeatedly that teams of workers using wet sand as a lubricant under wooden sledges can move blocks of extraordinary weight with coordinated effort. But the key word in that sentence is effort. Real, sustained, catastrophic physical effort. Every pull of that rope engages your back, your shoulders, your legs, your core. And you will do this not once, not 10 times, but for hours. Your hands will bleed around the rope. The rope will not care. By mid-morning, the heat has become a physical presence. Temperatures at Giza in peak season regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius. On the plateau, with no shade and stone reflecting the sun from every direction, the temperature your body experiences is higher than that. You are sweating at a rate your body cannot sustain without constant fluid replacement, and the water you have access to is stored in clay vessels that keep it cooler than the air, but not cool enough to feel like relief. Overseers manage water distribution. Workers who collapse from heat exhaustion are not left to die. Records and skeletal evidence both suggest that the state invested significantly in keeping its workforce functional, but the moment between functional and collapsed is a brutal one that your body crosses and recrosses throughout the day, without ever quite being allowed to rest on the other side. What the textbooks do not tell you about pyramid construction is what it does to the human skeleton over time. Physical anthropologists who examined the remains of workers buried in the Giza cemetery found healed fractures in remarkable numbers. Vertebrae compressed and fused, evidence of repetitive stress injuries in the joints that would not look out of place in a modern orthopedic clinic. These are not the bodies of men who were destroyed and discarded. These are the bodies of men who were broken, partially healed, put back together by a medical system that was surprisingly sophisticated for its era, and then returned to work. Evidence of amputations with signs of post-surgical survival. Evidence of skull fractures that healed. Ancient Egyptian physicians documented in the Edwin Smith Papyrus a systematic approach to traumatic injury that recognized infection, recommended specific treatments, and categorized wounds by their treatability. But even the best medicine available in 2500 BCE cannot undo what heavy labor does to a young spine. You are carrying the future inside your bones right now, and it is not a comfortable future. The midday hours are the most dangerous. There is limited shade on the plateau, and the organizational records suggest that work did continue through the hottest part of the day, though likely at reduced intensity for the most exposed tasks. You crouch near a block with your gang, waiting for the foreman's signal, and your body runs through its quiet inventory of damage. The blister on your left heel that opened 2 days ago and has not closed because it cannot close. You are on your feet 16 hours a day, and the ground is never clean. The cut across your palm that keeps cracking open each time you grip the rope. The dull ache in your lower back that has stopped being remarkable because it is simply always there now. Compared to the men who work the quarry face, using copper tools to separate stone in confined spaces filled with silica dust, your position is enviable. Respiratory disease from stone dust inhalation was almost certainly a significant cause of suffering and early death among quarry workers, though the evidence is harder to read in bone than injuries are. The pyramid does not ask your lungs how they are doing. Afternoon brings a different kind of suffering, the monotony of coordinated labor in heat that never drops. Pull, shift, reset, pull again. Your gang moves in silence, broken only by the sounds that labor produces. Breathing, scraping wood, cracking rope, the occasional sharp command from an overseer whose authority over your daily rations gives him a hold on your compliance that no physical threat needs to reinforce. You think about food, not because you are daydreaming, but because hunger is constant. The ration system provided workers with bread, beer, fish, beans, onions, and occasionally meat, a diet that modern nutritional analysis suggests was adequate in calories, but monotonous and physically abrasive in ways that accumulated invisibly over months. Your body is a machine running on grit-contaminated grain and warm water, and it is running that machine at maximum capacity for most of the hours available in a day. By late afternoon, the shadows of the plateau begin to lengthen, and the temperature starts its slow retreat from unbearable toward merely brutal. You return your tools. The copper chisels and adzes are inventoried by scribes. Copper was valuable enough that equipment accountability was taken seriously. You walk back toward the workers' village, a settlement that archaeologists excavating the site in the 1990s revealed to be a genuine urban infrastructure rather than a temporary camp. There were bakeries and breweries operating at industrial scale. There were storage facilities and administrative buildings. There were sleeping quarters. The organization of this settlement tells you something important. The state understood that keeping workers fed, housed, and alive was not generosity. It was engineering. A dead worker cannot move stone. A sick worker moves it slowly. The pyramid needed you functional, and so the system was built to keep you functional. In the same way, a machine is maintained, not because it is valued, but because it is necessary. Your evening begins with another meal that resembles your morning meal more than you would wish. The bread is the same bread. The teeth grinding is the same. There may be fish, Nile perch or tilapia preserved with salt. And if today is a rest day, which occurred roughly every 10 days according to administrative records, there may be slightly more substantial provisions. Your sleeping space is shared. The workers' dormitories excavated at Giza suggest communal arrangements. Multiple men to a room, bodies close together in the heat. Parasites are a constant companion of ancient communal living. Schistosomiasis, a waterborne parasitic infection caused by contact with Nile water, has been detected in mummified remains from this period. Intestinal parasites documented in ancient Egyptian bodies include roundworm, tapeworm, and others. Your digestive system is hosting tenants you did not invite and cannot evict. This is not an exception in your world. This is the normal condition of nearly every human body alive in Egypt in this era, regardless of social class, though lower-class bodies bear the full burden of contaminated water exposure and inadequate sanitation. You lie down. Your back makes its nightly complaint. The ground is hard, and the night, unlike the day, grows cold. A desert cold that surprises people who have only ever imagined Egypt as hot. But the temperature swing between day and night on the plateau is dramatic enough to make sleep uncomfortable in a different direction than the day's suffering. There is no pillow as you understand one. There may be a headrest, a curved piece of wood used across all social classes in ancient Egypt, designed to keep your head elevated and protect whatever hairstyle you maintain. It is not comfortable. You sleep because your body demands unconsciousness, not because your circumstances invite rest. In the morning, the sun returns without asking permission, and so do you. Day after day, month after month, until your rotation ends and you walk home to a village somewhere along the Nile, carrying a body that is permanently different from the one you arrived with. The stones you moved will still be standing in 4,000 years. People will stand at their base and speak about majesty and mystery and the lost secrets of ancient engineering. Some of them will wonder how it was done. Almost none of them will think about what it felt like from inside your chest when you pulled that rope one more time, on a morning when your hands were already bleeding and the sun was already burning, and the only thing between you and the overseer's displeasure was the strength you were not sure you had left. The pyramids are one of the most recognizable structures in human history. They are also the compressed physical suffering of generations of human bodies, translated into geometry that outlasted every culture that tried to compete with it. The next time you turn on a tap and cold water comes out, or lie down on a mattress that absorbs your weight instead of resisting it, or swallow a bite of food that contains nothing harder than the food itself, you are living at a distance from this reality that cannot be measured in years alone. The pyramid builder who went to sleep on that plateau would not recognize your life as belonging to the same species of experience. And if you were dropped into his, you would not last the first afternoon. If there is a moment in history you would want to explore in this same way, the unfiltered, uncomfortable, unromantic version of daily life that the official story never tells, leave it in the comments. There are countless places and periods waiting to be seen clearly for the first time.